would prefer it to be licensing, but at least 10 of them have backed down to the fact that they understand promotion and relegation is required for the sport, even if it might not benefit their clubs in the short term. So because it's culturally, I don't like promotion and relegation as a concept, but it's culturally required in this country, in our sporting makeup. That's just something that people like me have to accept and move on with. So
yeah, and I think there's got to be an element of qualification and criteria. I quite like the idea that there is some sort of
minimum standards.
Some minimum standards, and as long as they're held to and not just made exceptions for when there's someone we want to ignore them.
Yeah, and obviously you could have like a progression pattern of the clubs that are in the Super League that maybe aren't achieving those minimum standards at the moment. If they finished in the bottom spot, they wouldn't get the opportunity to play a game maybe, because if the club coming up met them already and they didn't meet them and that sort of stuff, so then that means everyone has to get the house in order too. But it just means that you're not making them do it straight away necessarily. You're giving them the same chance as the teams coming up have to get that position together and get everyone pulling in the same direction to grow things commercially and from a player pool point of view and all those things.
I like the idea of a sort of a points-based system, so you get certain points for certain activities, and development activity or financials. It's merited across the board.
Couldn't you as well for stuff like your club social media account having to go at referees and stuff like that?
Yeah, but I mean, as a sort of separate thing for off the field. There's a separate points, and you have to meet, say, 75 points to get, to meet the minimum standard. Of that's made up of, you get so much for financial health, you get so much for, and it can be weighted, and it would be complex in regard, but I think it would be something that would be fairer,
as long as it's clear and laid down and applied equally, then it doesn't matter if it's complex as such, because really we'd hope that we won't get any clubs getting into those positions that aren't in the right state anyway, and we don't want to discourage good clubs from the lower leagues from progressing.
No, and I think that would incentivise clubs as well, because if you could clearly see that this is an area we'd like you to focus on and we'll give you points to do so, then
you could also link the funding to those things for all the clubs, and then drive standards that way. Yeah, okay. No, it's some interesting stuff. I'm sure lots of people have lots of views on that, and I'm sure it'll roll on as the season goes on. It'll be interesting to get some more stuff. I'm sure there'll be more SLP shorts around that topic as the season goes on. So
there'll be more chairman statements, we know that much.
Yeah, if anyone's got anything they particularly want to make sure is heard on the show, then do drop us a line with your views. Okay, England squads. We talked a bit about England squads last week. I picked out my squad and invited people to send in theirs. We've had a couple in, but there's a couple of things to cover off before we get to that, really, because got to preface our squad selections by the news that Hull FC prop Scott Taylor has been called up as a replacement to injured George Burgess. Now, George Burgess claimed he wasn't injured on Instagram, I believe, but Scott Taylor's certainly in that squad. So whether George Burgess still is in contention or not, that's not entirely clear, but it seems that he's not. And George Williams has pulled out of the squad as well. He's flown with the squad, and then the extent of a knock he picked up at the weekend.
That's the best possible, isn't it? You're effectively on holiday for a week. You don't have to do any training. You just, hold a few cones and sit and watch the game. Yeah, well,
the news is that the squad arrived in America late on Sunday, and Williams was assessed by the England medical staff. It's been ruled out of a knee injury. He'll remain in the camp, though, and continue to receive treatment from England. And no replacement's going to be brought in the squad, which kind of suggests to me what I was feeling in the first place, that Williams probably wasn't going to be in the 17. We've had a couple of others, so we'll do these two and then we'll do yours, Tim. So Lee Whitnell said my England team to face New Zealand would be Lomax at fullback, Makinson and Hall on the wings, Connor and Percival in the centres. He went for Widdop and Williams in the halves. Obviously that would have to change now. Hill, Roby and Graham in the front row, Sam Burgess, Whitehead and O'Loughlin in the back row, then Tom Burgess, Bateman, Ratchford and George Burgess on the bench. So obviously that would just lift that out and say he'd be playing. Thompson and McGilvery would have been his two to miss out from the original squad, so I'm guessing Thompson would jump in to George Burgess' spot for Lee there. Brian Davies said, mine would be the same as Mark, so my team was Ratchford, McGilvery, Hall, Percival and Bateman in the backs, and then it would have been Lomax and Widdop as my halves. Hill, Roby, Graham, Sam Burgess, Whitehead and O'Loughlin making up the pack, and then it would have been Thompson, Burgess and Connor on the bench, so it would be Thompson, Taylor, Burgess and Connor now.
It just sounds like names of firms of solicitors, doesn't it?
Definitely.
Thompson, Taylor, Burgess and Connor.
Definitely so, yeah. So Brian went on to say, the only question for me is the centres, Percival and Bateman or Percival and Connor. I think I'd start with Bateman and have Connor on the bench, and then he'd have had Williams and Makinson missing out, which was the same. For me, he'd gone Burgess, Thompson on the bench, so I'm guessing he'd go Burgess, Taylor and Thompson to represent him from the bench.
Which bench, we're not sure.
So where do you stand on the England side? What's your selection looking like?
So I'd gone for Ratchford at fullback, Makinson and McGilvery on the wings, Percival and Connor in the centres, Widdop and Williams as the half combination, because I want them to try and form a proper combination. And if we're saying they're our next World Cup combination, then I want to get them as much time playing with each other and understanding each other as they can. I'd then gone for front row. I wanted to start Thompson. I wanted to give him the opportunity to start in this international where, let's be honest, it doesn't mean a huge amount. I'd want to get that experience off. And then Roby, obviously, and then with Graham alongside him to start with. Okay. Sam Burgess and Whitehead.
Bit of a red in the back row. Front row, yeah.
Yeah. And then O'Loughlin, obviously, at 13. And then I had Hill, Bateman, Lomax and spare Burgess on the bench.
Fair enough. So
I had Hall and Taylor as my two that wouldn't be selected. I think with Williams dropping out, I'd move Lomax in to start, and I'd actually put Taylor on the bench, and then have Bateman and Connor play some switcheroo if you needed to.
Fair enough. It's all very interesting. One thing we will find out when we do the stats, Tim, I don't know if you had a scan over those yet so far, but there's a lot of England player representation in the stats roundup from the Super League games this weekend, which is really pleasing, that everyone seems to be going into it in good form.
In a decent way, yeah.
So I think there would have been a lot of options and a lot of people in reasonable form. I think Connor off the bench for me offers great utility value, and that's what I'd be looking for there. Plus, I'd be inclined just to throw him in. That's why I want to start him at centre. I want him to get the experience. I want to put him in there and really test him. Yeah, but I want to win the game too, and I think is the kind of player who might turn a game when you bring him on, which is always nice to have in your pocket, sort of thing. So
true.
And I'm not sure there's anyone else who would have been able to turn the game quite like that. Williams, if he was on the bench, might have come on if Roby needed a break at hooker. And I do think there is a bit of that is the one question mark over
that is the question.
I feel like Clark should have been picked. I think he's played well enough to have been picked, as well as the fact that it's questionable.
Well, you don't need to take three wingers, do you? You don't need to take three wingers with you. You could have chosen two wingers and then have Connor as your utility to cover that if one of them did drop down.
I think the three wingers maybe was the reflection of uncertainty over McGilvery's fitness potentially, because he's been out so much this year and that sort of stuff. That would be my only question, because I can't see a reason for it not being Hall and McGilvery, given that I know neither are scoring a ton of tries this year so far, but both are contributing to their sides, even if they're playing in sort of middle of the league sides.
And they are Bennett type of wingers as well.
Both were in such great form in the England setup. You can't. I know people talk about picking players on form, but you can't just disregard international pedigree. And the form that McGilvery and Hall showed in the World Cup was like they'd have to be playing really, really badly rather than just not being top of the try charts for me. Makinson isn't exactly scoring an absolute shed load of tries in that Saints team. on the basis of you look around the rest of the team, like Percival and Barber, they're getting an absolute shed load of tries. Makinson's just doing pretty well with his try scoring, but you could have argued for Marshall if you want to talk about try scoring rates, or Tom Johnson's had a few hat tricks this year, hasn't he? So that inflates his numbers, but it makes him look, he's scoring more tries. And you could have had Ben Jones-Bishop if you were looking at try scoring rates as well. Do you know what I mean? It's not all about try scoring in this England setup, because it's about picking your best players, and they're your best two wingers based on international pedigree for me. So that seemed, so maybe that was a reason to not take Makinson in my view, but rewarding for the form. And
equally, it depends how you look at this game, isn't it? Do you look at this game as one you want to win, or do you want it to one where you can spread some experience? Which is probably more of where this would be a game I'd be using to test out some combinations at international level and try
trying to win every game. But that's how you build the momentum to get people buying tickets and buying into it, is getting up the rankings, winning all the games. That's the way I see it.
But does that put you in a better position to win the World Cup, or are you in a better position if you've built that team and forged it as a team?
Well, yeah, but you don't know. You don't know. You don't know what's going to happen between now and then. I think too much could happen between now and then to draw your line and say, this is my team, and I want to, and then this is my squad, and I want to rotate and test people out and see how they work with each other. It's a one-off thing. It doesn't show you enough. Maybe when you get people into camp, you want to maybe have a bigger squad than even the 22, 23, 24-man squads that you might take to a World Cup. So come the end of this year, you want to get all the England performance squad on all the nights into camp and get them all playing and test things out in training matches and that sort of thing. But I think you want to win your games on the BBC. You want to win.
Yeah, that's a fair point.
That's my take on it anyway. But I understand your view too. I'm sure, we'll have lots to talk about. Probably won't be able to talk about what teams people would select. But make sure you watch when you watch the game on Saturday, everyone, you send in your match reviews to us on the Google form that will be up over the weekend. Okay, that's power struggles in England covered.
Yeah.
So let's now move on to the rest of the news from around the world of Rugby League. News now, sponsored by littlewarden.com. If you've got a website, then visit littlewarden.com and see what they can do to help you. They can help you with domain expiration checks, redirects, and all sorts of other important background web stuff that they'll make simple for you. Little Warden, monitoring the tedious. Okay, continuing the theme of Denver, Tim, and I'm going to start with Michael Maguire's New Zealand squad. So he's named his first New Zealand squad that's going to take on England in Denver, and there's 7 new names in that lineup. I should have prepared these pronunciations because this is where we always.
I'm looking forward to this. I saw this one down on the sheet and I thought this would be fun.
So Ken Maumalo from the Warriors.
Ken Barlow.
Yeah, Ken Barlow. Yeah.
From the Weatherfield Warriors.
Jermaine Izarko from the Broncos. Eason Masters from the Tigers. Leeson Armour from the Dragons. Herman Esse, who's at the Knights this year. Slade Griffin from the Knights. Raymond Faitula Mariner from the Bulldogs. They've all been named to potentially make their debuts for the Kiwis. So potentially 7 New Zealand players and 3 New England players. So lots of excitement there from people. The full Kiwi squad to face England is Leeson Armour, Nelson Asafa Solomona, who plays for the Storm, Herman Esse, Raymond Faitula Mariner, James Fisher-Harris, who plays for the Panthers, Slade Griffin, Peter Hiku, who Warrington fans will remember, but he's at the Warriors this year, Izarko, Jordan Kahu, also of the Broncos, Isaac Liu from the Roosters, Isaac Luke from the Warriors, Tamari Martin, who plays at the Cowboys, Masters there, Maumalo, Cody Nikorima from the Broncos, Joseph Tapane from the Canberra Raiders, Martin Tapau from the Manly Sea Eagles, Jared Waria Hargreaves, Letters is back in from the Roosters, and Dalin Wateni Zalesniak of the Panthers. So lots of long names with lots of vowels.
I was going to say they're good for Scrabble score, aren't they?
There's a few key notable omissions. There's a couple of players who've retired of late from the international.
Yeah, Mannering being the big name, of course, is Mannering,
Captain
who's
Mannering,
retired.
Course, yeah. He's